started a team?
So, one of my favorite books is Gary Keller, and I will get to your question. So, Gary Keller's Red Book, which is A Millionaire Real Estate Agent, and I read it early on. I also read Think and Grow Rich. Both books were fundamental in shaping how I saw the business and saw it as a business rather than just, every deal, this is, I made this commission check and now it's in my pocket, and so I made this much money, which is complete a farce. So for me, your question was about how long did I stay in the business before I started making a decent living?
Until you had a team.
Oh, until I had a team, sorry.
Yeah.
The team, I started with an assistant. So I didn't start with another agent, but the problem was, and that was about 20, maybe it was like 4 years ago. So 2015, 2016. And I started with an assistant, but I didn't even know how to run my business enough to be able to delegate effectively and understand what is, other than what's required by us by RICO, what is delegatable. If that's a word.
It is now.
It is now official, yes. And so
2020 dictionary, new word of the year.
Precisely.
We're good.
So really, it just came down to really understanding what roles I could outsource, what roles I had to do myself, and then when you felt comfortable. Because and so that's kind of when my team started with the assistant, but really having another agent on the team, I didn't start that till about three years ago. So. 2 or 3 years ago was about that.
What do you found has been like the big change from being on your own to having that team?
You have to be the leader in the sense that not only do you need to fully absorb and understand the roles you have as the business owner. So, you have to negotiate how you're going to do commission splits with the agents that are under your team umbrella. You also have to pay your assistant and then delegate respective tasks. But then you also have to be the primary driver for lead generation and other activities, and you just lead by example. So, as much as I had all of these other new responsibilities as the team leader for advertising, spending, and everything else, I also still needed to be on my A game so that the person who is entrusting me to be a leader can actually show them what needs to be done, and they can learn from you. And balancing that, perfect example, door knocking, right? I started my business more afraid of working with family as a result of my first transaction than I was working with strangers. No. So door knocking was my number one go-to. And so I just started door knocking, and that's the best way to thicken your skin. Get used to rejection, get used to disappointment, as exciting as those things are in our industry. But really understanding that you can't take things personally. It's a business. People have different reasons and different criteria with which they judge for making decisions. And, as any other realtor knows, getting rejected by family and friends sucks. And the other thing is not being debilitated by that, because you can easily get rejected by someone and then take it personally and then gripe about it for days or weeks. And then, I remember in the beginning, I used to live in what we, most brokerages call a bullpen, or the office space that has a bunch of common area computers that you can use. And I would literally stake out my spot where people actually thought it was like my desk, because it was a little nook in a corner. It was like a little nook in a corner. And it was actually kind of cool because behind the wall that I was at was one of our top producers in the office. And he was there always as late as me or later. And it was funny because some people dread talking on the phone. This guy was nothing but a lead generator. He didn't even do the database well until recently. But he literally had that phone book and just killed it. Yeah. And at certain points, his wife would call him, and I'm sitting on the other side trying to make a single deal or whatever. And then his wife would call him and say, "Oh yeah, I'm not gonna be back for a little bit." And he's like, "Oh, I got 15 more minutes." Even though he was ready to go, he'd jump back in the office and make another 10 calls before he had to leave, which was phenomenal. The character and the determination. And this guy was producing at $500,000 a year. He was killing it. And yet he still valued every single call he made. He understood the concept that is.
Anyways, all right. So
Where were we?
So
My bad.
no. So pretty much what I was saying was just at my office, it was unique to be able to see the difference between agents that produced and agents that didn't.
Yeah.
And you know, being able to observe people is and having a higher level of emotional intelligence. I think not only, like, it's been proven that emotional intelligence is one of the driving factors of success. Being able to communicate effectively and understand other people emotionally, and because the majority of our decisions are made emotionally, including purchasing and selling real estate. And so for me, being able to absorb information, understand how people do business, what their good traits and poor traits were, and then trying to emulate the good traits that I liked and discard the ones I didn't, has been kind of a reoccurring theme in my life, which has allowed me to get from where I started in a trailer park, more or less, growing up into today, where I own my own house and have two kids, and just kind of grown up quite a bit.
And what is like retention for you like? So like, are you keeping people long term? Do you have a high turnover of agents on your team? What does that look like?
You know what? The highest rate of turnover that I have is in my assistant. And I can't emphasize enough how important it is to have the right team member to hold the realm of the database, the follow-up mailing, and just the basic listing checklists, booking appointments for you when you're on the run. Because like now, as a result of having an amazing assistant, we actually call her a client care specialist, and I'd love to give her an even better title because I want to emphasize how awesome she is. But for me, it allows me to do what is the best revenue generating activities for the business, which is help clients deal with their emotions, help clients make important big decisions, doing the research to make sure you have the right number for a listing. Like, our average days on market is close to 16.2 days. Over my career, that's almost a decade of sales.
So if people want to get a hold of you, they want to have a chat with you, learn more about your team, anything like that, how do they get a hold of you?
They can absolutely get a hold of me through the mayer-harmen-team.com, or you can check out my YouTube channel at mhtchannel.com, and you can see all of my video tours there.